He's been doing a conference, a speech, and he said, no, the money is not going to go to the children. 2 daughters and a son. They've had a good education so they can learn how to rely on their own abilities instead of my money. We'd love to know whether you support him on that. And also, we mentioned, didn't we, earlier on, this article in the Evening Standard about eating on the tubes and the buses becoming more common week by week. And this is the quote from it. In buses in Peckham, the done thing, I am told, says David Sexton, is to spit the bones of your fried chicken onto the floor as you go along. Whereas up here in Wood Green, the preference seems to be for putting at least some of the bits back in the tray before throwing it down. We'd love to get your reaction on that as well. Does he have a point that actually eating on the tube is pretty hideous and there's never, ever an excuse to do it? And as I say, more stuff on pensions, which we spoke about for some time on the during the last hour. David's in Kingsbury. Morning to you, David.
Hi, Simon. Nice to speak to you.
And you. Welcome to the show.
Very, very interesting to listen to the 2 heavyweights there.
They really were heavyweights, and I was exceptionally happy that they were in. It was a joy tonight, really was. I've spoken to both of them probably for more years than all of us care to remember.
I've listened to them for a very long time.
Yes, it makes us. We all feel as if we know each other.
Yeah.
Pensions,
yeah. I mean, anyone who listens to Max Kaiser, I think he's becoming more and more well known since he's been on Russia Today.
Yeah, which we wanted to try and get him in. Do you remember Max Kaiser, Mel? We were talking about him. He does, and we've been tweeting him, we've been emailing him. We never get anything back. But yes, he's an incredible man.
Yeah, he's taught me an awful lot. I mean, I've studied all sorts of related subjects, but he's connected it all and joined it so I can see the big picture now. And the thing about pensions and interest rates is they are intimately connected, because private pensions certainly are pretty much tied to interest rates. So the lower they are, the lower people's pensions are. So they are taking that money away from pensioners and giving it to people that are borrowing for, well, not even mortgages. The majority of people who get loans are bankers and the government. They pay a base rate, nobody else does. And he said that 70% more people are net savers, ordinary citizens, than borrowers. So those low interest rates are making, I think it's 70 billion a year loss from the economy every year. That
Yes.
money could be put back in and spent on other things. And it has the joint problem of raising inflation, because house prices, it's the biggest amount we all spend, whether we're renting or buying, because rent doesn't matter if you're renting or buying, because rent goes up if buying goes up, and vice versa. Those two are connected, so you can't beat the system by
Although there
the
was little that the government say they could have done to avoid interest rates remaining low. Although of course it's in the end it's in the gift of the Bank of England. Obviously pressure can be put in the right direction, and it had interest rates stayed at 5%, which is the long-term average, this country would probably, you could argue, be in a different position than it is now.
We would be far better off, because the whole point is that if inflation included house prices, which we spend more on than anything else, than rents, it would be about, I don't know, 20-30% a year now.
Yes.
Because house prices, certainly in London, are going up 10 to 15% at least every year. Rents are going up.
But you can argue that isn't down to low interest rates.
Well, it is, because people could never buy houses so easily, and they don't think, even though they're supposed to be advised by the mortgage advisors, they don't think, oh, the rates might go up, we can only afford, 4 or 5%, whatever we're paying now, because they're not paying 0.5, they're paying a few above it.
Sure.
And it's going to go up.
But when you think that, but when you think that in central London and prime London and a huge numbers of other properties in London boroughs, a lot of the investment that's coming in is being paid for in cash. And an equal number, or certainly also a lot of investment coming in, is coming from abroad, also in cash, then you could argue that interest rates have no role to play.
Well, they certainly do around the country. I mean, if you ask any estate agent or anybody in property what would happen if interest rates went up, say 3 or 4%, the base rate, say, oh my God, the property will crash. They know it.
Yes, yeah.
And
of course, long term, the interest rates have always been around about 5%. Yes, they've gone up to 15, and they've gone down at the moment to 0.5. But the long term average is 5. On this subject of the pensions and having access to your pension, if, for example, you do not wish to buy an annuity and the fear that you could blow it all at once if you have a private pension, does that matter? Is that any of the government's business? Is it good that they've given us the freedom?
I didn't even know the system was like that. It's going to be a while before I need to worry about it. But, I mean, I heard America's already got that rule, and most of them do that, and they've managed. But I suppose trusting people with their own money can't be a bad thing, but I didn't even realise we had to buy an annuity at the moment. But I think it would be far better if the annuity was worth more through higher interest rates, and people put more money back in the economy anyway.
Do you know what your future is going to be? I mean, you say it's too early to think about for you, but have you got an idea about how you're going to manage?
Well, I do, because I got my letter from the government a few weeks ago saying when I get my pension, I think I'm 66 or 67 or something. And as long as I get the state pension, I mean, it just happens that I'm in a very, what you could call, socially unfortunate situation of being the only person left in my family in this generation, but the financially fortunate one of the same thing. So basically everything from the family will end up coming to me in the end. So I suppose that at least will be what you call a safety net.
It will be. And just lastly, on that subject, we were talking earlier on about Bill Gates, who's decided that his $76 billion fortune is not going to go to his own 3 children, but is going to go elsewhere. If for example, any inheritance headed in your direction suddenly veered away at the last moment, would you be miffed?
Oh, yeah. The thing is that, I mean, you don't have children to leave them in the lurch. I mean, if you're going to treat your children like that, why bother? You know, you want the best for your children. I totally agree. Giving them a lottery amount would it might go to their head and be a bit silly, but give them enough to survive on. Does he cut them out completely, or just the majority?
No, I don't think he's cut them out completely. We don't know exactly how much, but it's obviously he's decided that they can fend for themselves.
The also saying, I mean, under British law, one of the only ways you can challenge a will is if you don't give it to your children. So it's fairly well enshrined that you raise your children because you want children, and if you look after them until they grow up, etc., and get them out of trouble while you're alive, why not pass on at least enough for them to survive on after you're gone?
David, thank you for the call. 0207 224 2000, just approaching midnight. Simon Letterman Show, BBC.